Omar, thanks so much for your time today. We're so delighted to attend your exhibition.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me on the show.
Some of your pieces are aesthetically beautiful, and they're quite dramatic. What's your main theme that you're trying to convey, particularly the theme about inner turmoil, which I find very interesting?
Well, the theme, let's say, in general, is darkness. And I think of darkness, I mean, a lot of people think of darkness as a very negative thing. But to me, darkness is where all the good things come from. I mean, darkness is when somebody's in darkness is when they look into themselves and like when they discover. It's when they discover the truth about who they are. That's where darkness is. And it's in darkness that you see light. And it's darkness that started everything in the universe. And then light comes out of that. That's
really powerful. Let's choose one of the pieces that you think communicates that strongly about.
Well, one specific piece is, it's difficult because it's about the juxtaposition. There's a lot of pieces about that are representing outer space, intermixed with portraits. And for me, for instance, this is a self-portrait of mine. But juxtaposed with outer space, it's about the distance, the grand distances between the minds of two people, let's say, like this person and me. Like, our brains are never going to be connected purely. There's just always going to be a grand distance, and we're always kind of journeying across this big distance to connect with each other.
Is that because we're too busy with our own inner turmoil? Each person is in their own head, maybe, and there's somehow a galaxy in between.
There's many different layers to it. I mean, some of it is that, we're stuck in our own minds, and our own bodies are the limit. Like, this is the limit of how far I can go. I can't go into your mind yet, let's say. So that's one of the layers. Plus, everybody's busy with their own stuff, with their own problems. And so all these things add up and make it so difficult for people to really see eye to eye, so to speak.
So is it talking about lack of human connection or lack of mental connection?
Yeah, it's the difficulty of that. It's like how much effort we need to make to be able to connect with each other. And, it's a journey that we have to take together. It's not something that can happen easily. And, being a person for me, it's kind of a very lonely thing because it's hard. We try to connect with each other, but at some points you realize, you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, do you? Because I'm speaking and that's translating something in my mind, so it loses a lot before it gets to your ears and then gets translated to your brain, and the idea kind of loses a lot along the way.
So this one in particular, Omar, I find very interesting. I like the sort of explosive element. To me, it means, an explosion of the mind. Is that what it represents?
Yeah, it's kind of like the mind trying to reach out as far as it can into, like it's going into the black, into the space. And it kind of mirrors the way like a nebula will explode and try to expand in outer space. And so it's all about like reaching out and trying to make that connection.
So we have an explosion of the mind and explosion of the universe in some sort of sense.
Explosions, like actual physical explosions.
Yep. Tell us about those, because these ones are a bit more political, you mentioned before.
I don't think of it as a political thing. I think just a very basic human problem, which is what the things that Israel does in Palestine. And these are just, to me, again, this shows the positive darkness versus like light being a negative thing, because at night you want it to actually be dark, whereas then you see a bright light like that, that's a very negative light in a very positive darkness. And this also exemplifies the distance between minds that I was talking about, like how far people's minds can be separate from each other.
And the difference between people, different groups of people.
How they can't connect, like how one person could think of another person as not even a person. Like there's something that we're not worth thinking about. I can just kill them and it doesn't matter to me.
So impersonal, that space between human beings.
Almost alien, like you're just not even a thing that I've considered alive. So you can just burn it and blow it up, and it just can. So the distance between them keeps separating. The distance between the minds of a person who's pulling the trigger and then a person who is in the city kind of blowing up can be so far away from each other. And there are 3 examples of this. There's one here, and then there's another one over there.
Do they have anything in common?
They have, I mean, because these are all, they both have the violence in common. This is also a very violent thing, but it's so far away that we don't really think of it as violent. We think of it as like something very beautiful, so far away. But it's so much more violent than this because this is closer. So it's about perspective, really.
And also perhaps explosions in the universe, they might be violent or abrupt when they occur, but somehow they might lead to a sort of peaceful order and some type of beauty or naturalism in the universe, whereas that type of explosion...
Yeah, that kind of, I mean, hopefully when people see, I mean, hopefully everything would lead to a positive thing in the end. It's terrible when people die, and it's terrible when explosions happen, but maybe when people see that these things are happening, when we show that these things are happening, they would act to stop them. So there's, I'm hoping, a positiveness in at least sharing these kinds of images so that people are like, oh, these things are happening right now, just daily almost, and we don't even think about them. Let's think about them, let's fix the situation, and let's apply pressure, and all these things that you can do, you know, as a person with BDS and with just boycotting and all this stuff. So,
well, thank you for sharing your passion through your art. And I hope that your art does bring people together and creates greater human connection. I think that's what we need, especially in this region.
I hope so too. I really think that we do need it, and hopefully, bit by bit, things will improve.
Great.
I'm optimistic.
So am I. Omar Khouri, Lebanese artist in Beirut.